actually kind of nervous to talk about this. Hey, I'm Amber. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, thanks so much for stopping by. I recently became aware of this regretful parents or regretful parenting trend. I actually have seen some videos a while ago. I just kind of saw it and moved on, but I've been seeing more and more of this type of content, specifically on Reddit and TikTok. If you don't know what this is, it's basically just parents getting online on one platform or another and saying things like, I don't want to do this anymore. I truly made the biggest mistake of my life having 2 kids. I should have never. That's just one. My son is 1 year old as of a week ago. Nothing has gotten any easier. If you come across this message and are considering having children, don't. All it does is take away all free time, all your effing money, and all your energy. Honestly, these are really hard for me to read as a mom. It makes my heart really sad that these people genuinely feel this way. But the gist is, a lot of people are just saying, I regret having kids, it's ruined my life, I don't like my child for one reason or another. And for some of these people, it actually doesn't sound like they don't like being parents or they don't like their kids, but they're just in a situation that doesn't give them much support. Like they're either with a partner that isn't very supportive, or they are single parents with multiple kids. So those are tough situations for sure. But I wanted to get on here and talk about this because similar to when that egg cracking challenge was kind of going viral, where people were asking their toddlers for help in the kitchen and then cracking an egg on their head, and the kids were getting visibly upset, and a lot of people came out and said this is wrong. I think the same thing needs to happen with this regretful parent trend. So what I want to talk about here is why I think that this trend is wrong and why I think that you should not consume it, especially if you are a new parent or a parent that is going through a rough patch. And regardless of what side you're on, because I feel like this is a very divisive topic, just hear me out. I'm not here to judge or shame anyone. I want to be sensitive to the fact that I don't know the circumstances under which all of these people had their children, because there are some laws in place that make certain things kind of difficult right now. There is a very good chance that maybe some of these people didn't want to become parents in the first place and just felt like they didn't have a choice. I don't know. I can tell you from reading at least some of these threads and from watching some of the TikTok videos, a good portion of these people did choose to have kids. And if that is the case, you brought your kids into the world. I think that social media can sometimes create an unrealistic picture of what parenthood actually looks like, which is why I try to keep it as realistic as possible on here, because I think being a parent and being a mom is amazing. It's probably one of, if not the best thing I'll ever do, but it is not without its challenges. And if you do want to be a parent, you have to be willing to take the good with the tough. Another problem with social media is this instant gratification that we get from it in the form of likes or comments saying oh my gosh, yes, thank you for sharing, you're so brave for talking about this, without necessarily always thinking about the long-term effects of what we're posting. Once you put something online, it's out there forever, even if you delete it. When I was in school getting my paralegal certificate, all of my professors were practicing attorneys. One of them said, don't ever put something on the internet that you wouldn't want blown up in front of a jury. And in this case, I'm not saying anyone is going to court, but the point is that even if you take something down, it can 100% be retrieved. And I think retrieving deleted content is probably only going to get easier the more advanced technology gets. The main reason I think that this type of content is so wrong is because I think that these people are putting these thoughts out there because they just want to vent and get it off their chest and maybe feel like they can't tell their friends and family how they're feeling, or they're trying to normalize this feeling of regretting having your kids or not liking your kids. And while I want to say a lot of those people are sharing this to try to make other people feel like better about feeling the same thing, there's a really important person we're completely forgetting about when posting those types of things, and that is the kids. And I hope that the kids of these parents never ever come across these things that their parents are posting, but if they did, could you imagine how devastating it would feel as a child to find out that your parent either feels or felt like they hated you or like they wish that they didn't have you? To give you just a little example to put this into perspective, and I know not all kids are me, of course, but there was a time when I was like probably about 6 years old. This is one of my earliest memories, and I grew up with very good parents, like very loving parents. I remember asking my dad who he loved most in the world. Keep in mind, like I know and I knew that my parents loved me. He was like, "Oh, I love your mom more than anything in the world." And I distinctly remember that answer like shocking me to my core and trying to hide my shock that my dad loved my mom more than anything in the world and not me. And I think it's safe to say that all children want, especially when they're young, to just be loved by their caretakers, because as their parent, you are their everything. You are their safety, you are their best friend, their emotional support, everything. And I only share that story to put in perspective what it might feel like for a young child to find out that their parents don't want them or don't like them. If that is genuinely how you feel, then more than likely that is going to come out in the way that you parent your child. I don't want to say that what these people are feeling isn't valid, because if that's how they feel, then that's how they feel. I think that sharing those thoughts online is a really unhealthy and harmful way to express those feelings. I'm no expert, but if I was in the shoes of those people, I would 100% be trying to talk to a therapist, or if therapy is not in your budget, go to a church. I'm actually gonna try to find some free resources and link them down below, because I do think if that's how you feel, then you do need to talk to somebody about that. I just think the internet is not the place to do it, especially because whether or not you regret being a parent, if you are a parent, then that is your reality, and it's going to be a long season of your life taking care of your kids. So why would you want to go through that season of your life hating it and regretting it if getting some help could lead to you actually finding some joy out of that season of life? Just the same way that somebody might go get counseling if they're struggling in their marriage, and you might not even feel like you hate your partner. You might just be in a relationship and just think like, we're struggling, let's go get some help. You should 100% treat not liking your children or your role as a parent in the same way. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is why you should ignore this content. Do not consume it, especially if you are a parent. If you are a parent, it is not a secret that there are lots of challenges and tough moments, days, weeks, but you do not have to let those challenging times consume you. It's 100% possible to accept the challenge and maybe accept that you're not 100% happy in that challenge, but also to keep in mind that it is a phase and it will pass, and happier times will come. I actually enjoy parenting content myself that discusses a lot of the tough parts of parenting, because it's nice to know that I'm not the only one going through this, but it's also nice that these creators give you solutions. They give you ways to get through it and to not just dwell on how hard of a time you're having. I read this book one time that talked about how in everything you do, you have 3 choices. The first is that you can be mad or upset about it because you don't want to do it. The second is that you can, at minimum, just be content about doing it and just accept that this is something I have to do. And the third is that you can try to find some kind of joy out of what you're doing, whether you like it or not. I feel like some people might call that toxic positivity, but I can't understand why you wouldn't want to be joyful and happy for as much of your life as possible, other than the fact that misery loves company. If you're a parent having a tough time, this regretful parent content is not helpful or useful. It's so important to keep in mind that the tough times are not forever. Your kids are going to get older and they're going to require less and less of you. And unfortunately, I feel like if you spend most of their childhood regretting them or regretting your role in their life, then as they start getting older and needing you less, there is a good chance that they might also want less to do with you, which eventually could be a very sad thing for some people. If you are a parent having a tough time, I really do feel for you because it absolutely can be challenging, but I would encourage you to try as much as possible to take little bits of time for yourself here and there. Therapy can be really helpful, and again, I'm going to try to link some free resources in the description of this video. But at the end of the day, I guess the point that I am trying to make is do not become the company of these people. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well in the comments, but if they start becoming like really, really negative, then I'll probably just turn them off. So anyways, that is my little talk for the day. I hope that you are having a beautiful day. I really do, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.